Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this evening for our Sustainability in Agriculture and Business MSc Online Open Day. My name is Anna Garcia. I'm the postgraduate marketing and student recruitment here at SRUC. And this evening, we have a couple of our lecturers, so the program leaders for the program, and we also have a couple of our current students who will be sharing some of their experience with you. And we'll have some opportunity as well for you to ask any questions and have them answered either by any of our lecturers or the students as well. So as I said, we've got the program leaders with us this evening. So we've got Lou and Robin, who are the program leaders and who have prepared a presentation for you that we hope that you find helpful. Yeah, I'll just hand it over to you, Lou.
Hi there. Yeah, good evening. My name's Lou. As Anna said, I'm one of the co-leads of the Sustainability in Agriculture and Business programme. So the programme format is part-time online distance learning, which you'll hear a bit more about during the course of the evening. Could you move the slides, please, Robin? So the programme is validated and awarded by the University of Glasgow. So that means that all our regulations basically follow University of Glasgow requirements. And it also means that we get to have our graduations at the Bute Hall in Glasgow, which the photographs there show. And that's always a really, really nice part of the programme, is seeing people successfully graduate. Could you move on, please, Robin? So here we have the fees for the academic year 2025-26, which I hope you can see. I hope they look big enough. So the programme's divided into 3 different qualifications: the postgrad certificate, the postgrad diploma, and the master's programme, and the prices vary accordingly. The fees also depend on where you live and on various residency criteria. So our admissions staff will contact you about the fees, your residency and the fees, if that's necessary once you apply. Basically, the postgrad certificate fees are £3,500 a year if you live in Scotland, £4,200 if you are in the rest of the UK, and £8,000 if you are an international student. And those fees are the same for the first year and also for the second year, the postgrad diploma. If you just want to do an individual module, which is possible just for your own interest or CPD, then those modules are charged pro rata. The MSc itself, which is year 3 of the programme, is £2,700 if you are a Scottish resident, £2,900 if are UK, and £4,800 if international. Funding might be available via a part-time fee loan for the PG DIP or MSc through the Students' Awards Agency for Scotland or equivalent organisation across the rest of the UK. It's possible that other funding might be available through SRUC bursaries, such as the SRUC Change Your Path bursary, but our fees and funding officer can advise. In addition, there'll be additional costs for travel and accommodation at our study weekends. Could you move on, please, Robin? If you would like to apply for the programme, applications are direct to SRUC via the Apply Now option on the web page. You can access that via the link www.sruc.ac.uk/SAB. And once you reach the page, you can toggle between postgrad certificate, postgrad diploma or masters, as I've shown on that small insert there on the screen. Applications are open now and will be open right through until sometime in August. Although we would recommend that if you like to apply, you don't leave it too late, just to make sure that we do still have spaces available. Okay, could you move on, please, Robin? So the programme format is that it's part-time online distance learning, but here at SRUC we use a blended approach, and so we do have study weekends held at our Aberdeen campus in September and January. The study weekend in September will be the 5th to the 7th of September. The one in January will be mid-January, date still to be confirmed. And we like to use the blended approach because it means that as well as doing a lot of online learning, our students do get to do some networking, to meet their colleagues within their cohort, and also to get to meet the staff in person, which we think makes it easier to kind of build a student community. Could you move on, please, Robin? Oh, sorry, I should have said on the previous slide that if you're unable to attend a study weekend, we do run these hybrid for classroom-based sessions, which are also recorded for watching afterwards, if you want to. In terms of entry requirements, the University of Glasgow have regulations which suggest that applications will be accepted if you have an honours degree or equivalent in a relevant subject area. But we are also able to welcome applications from people with degrees in a wider range of disciplines, or if you have particular relevant experience and a clear motivation for studying the programme. So we do have, within reason, a degree of flexibility, and we do look at all applications individually on their own merit. So if you don't have a degree in a relevant subject, then that shouldn't put you off from applying. But I would say that for any application, if you could give us as much information as possible on the application form, that's really useful, because if there's bits missing, or if we feel you could have given a fuller personal statement, then we will have to come back to you and ask you for more information. So the process will go more smoothly if you can just give us as much information as possible right from the start. Could you move on, please, Robin? Thanks. So the programme structure is basically over 3 years. Year 1 is a postgrad certificate, which is also a standalone qualification in its own right. It consists of 4 taught modules of 15 credits each, giving a total of 60 credits. These are credits at the Scottish qualifications level 11, which is a master's level. And the first year is split into 2 core modules and 2 elective modules, which will be discussed later. A postgrad diploma is 8 taught modules in total, so that adds on another 4 modules, 2 more core ones and 2 more elective ones, so a total of 8 modules and 120 credits. And finally, adding on the MSc, which is an independent research project, gives you a total of 180 credits overall for the Masters. Thanks, Robin. I should say that all of these qualifications are at the same academic level. The difference between the 3 qualifications is the number of credits that you achieve. It's possible for you to apply for one, for example, the postgrad certificate, and then apply to progress at the end of year 1 to go on to the postgrad diploma and potentially the MSc if you would like to. Conversely, if something happens and you apply for the 3-year MSc and you're unable to complete that, it's possible for you to withdraw from the programme and graduate with a lesser award. All of the year 1 core modules happen in semester 1, which is September to January. For the first year, these are a module called Principles and Policy for Sustainable Agriculture, which looks kind of at the background and development of sustainable agricultural systems and relevant policy associated with those, in addition to how policy might change going forward, teaching you to sort of think about that as well. And the second core module is Soils in Sustainable Systems, because soils really underpin all agricultural systems, and it's really important for students to get a really thorough knowledge of such an important underpinning topic. In year 2, the core modules are one called Global Challenges in Agricultural Systems, which is a module which encourages you to do quite a lot of in-depth research on a particular relevant topic relating to agricultural systems and their place in the sort of wider global environment. And the second core module is one called Research Design and Analysis, which is designed to be a lead into carrying out a research project in your 3rd year. The elective modules run in the 2nd semester from January to May, and we have 5 elective modules which are linked directly to the SAB programme, which are either Crops or Livestock in Sustainable Systems, Principles of Marketing and Communication, Sustainable Entrepreneurship, and also Financial Management and Business Planning for Sustainability Objectives. We also offer electives from other programmes when those are available. So, for example, the Wildlife and Conservation Management MSc may have some modules which you think would be a good addition to your postgrad programme with us. Could you move on, please, Robin? So the standard duration of the programme is 1 year for a postgrad certificate, 2 years for a postgrad diploma and 3 years for a master's. As I said, we do follow the University of Glasgow regulations, which state that for a postgrad certificate and diploma, you have a maximum of 4 years to complete from your first enrolment with us. So that means that should you start the programme and for some reason be unable to finish or unable to carry on sort of consecutively, then you can take time out and come back at a later date within that 4-year period. For the master's programme, the master's year itself, you've got a maximum of 6 years to complete from the date of first enrolment. So you could finish the postgrad diploma, for example, and then take a year or two out and come back to complete the master's programme. Could you move on, please, Robin? In terms of time commitment, we do have the 2 study weekends in Aberdeen, one in September and one in January, which we encourage students to attend, really for student benefit rather than our own, because we feel that students do get a lot out of those weekends, which hopefully the students who are present this evening will be able to back up. For the master's programme, it's slightly different, and they tend to be weekday online sessions rather than actually in-person sessions on campus. And we do recommend about 15 hours a week self-directed study is required to complete the learning material and the assessments for the programme. Again, we have students on the call who will be speaking later, so they might have their own take on that and might keep us right on that. Can you move on, please, Robin? So basically, the awards that we offer are either a postgrad certificate, 4 taught modules, which you would complete after 1 year of study, a postgrad diploma, which adds another 4 modules to give a total of 8 taught modules for a postgrad diploma, and add on an independent research project to get the Master of Science after 3 years of study with us. So I'm going to hand over now to Robin to carry on with the presentation, and we'll be available for questions at the end.
Okay, thanks, Lou. So as we've already established, the main teaching blocks are September through to January for the first semester, and then there's a switch over from January to May. And the images in the background are just some that we've had from recent study weekends where we've been to various farms and agribusinesses. Our online learning environment is through a package called Moodle. So it's our virtual learning environment. So this is where you would kind of focus your attention in terms of accessing all the various materials and things that you'd be using as part of the course. So the September study weekend is actually quite useful because of have our IT staff on board to help access all of this, although they also do follow-up sessions in the weeks after, just to make sure that everybody has access to all the material. But the Moodle is the kind of the main virtual learning environment. This is where all the module contents that you're signed up to for that particular semester are located, so then you can access those. There's also a virtual classroom, so virtually all the sessions that you'd be involved in would be in the evenings and or the study weekends if you were doing it in the hybrid format. But the virtual classroom Kaltura is essentially, it's a classroom that you access online, so everybody goes into there, and that's where your lecturers and your fellow students will be located, and that's where you go through the learning materials through those live sessions. Moodle also would have access to all the general student information as well, and you can see the various tiles on the screen there that link you into the various aspects that you would be specifically important for your studies. And once you go into those, there'll be more information within each of those different tiles as well. And it also gives you access to the library online as well. So because we are an educational establishment, we do have a much broader range of learning materials that you'll be able to access than if you just went on like Google Scholar or something like that, for example. So you'll be able to access a lot more detailed, like peer-reviewed information and things like that, which is quite important at this level of study. So in terms of learning strategies, Lou's already alluded to, there's an element of self-directed study, which you'll be kind of steering yourself. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of reading as well. I've just talked about the library access and things like that. So we'll be expecting you to be looking at articles a bit more in depth. Academic writing as well is an area that you'll be expected to pick up if you haven't come from an academic environment recently. And we are obviously aware that some students maybe haven't studied for a while. So again, there will be help early on in terms of helping you to progress those kind of skills. A key part of this level of study is the actual critical analysis of information that you are collating. There'll be aspects in terms of having to do presentations, and key areas are going to be things like discussion of the information that you're gathering as well at the various, particularly on the online sessions, but also the study weekends for those of you attending there. And there's obviously going to be an assessment element to all of this as well, so that you can hopefully get to your required achievement in terms of whether it's the PG Cert, the PG Dip, or the Masters. And as I've said earlier, using the Moodle and the Kaltura classroom, there'll be online tutorials periodically throughout each semester for each of the modules that you're signed up to. So Lou's already mentioned the study weekends. Again, these are just a few different pictures in the bottom there. So there's a local vertical farm that we've been around in the past. The middle picture there is some of the work where we're investigating the soil health or soil quality aspects. And on the right-hand side, we've got an organic oilseed rape crop. But these study weekends are really a good opportunity to meet staff and students. It's definitely a good opportunity for you to pick up on things like which modules you're doing or introduction to those new modules, and also what are the assessments that are associated with those particular modules at that point in time in the different semesters. As the pictures allude to there, it's a really good opportunity to look, go and see a range of farms and industry. So we try and select a nice range of farms and industries to go and visit on these study weekends, to give a nice broad range of aspects in this industry. And we'll also bring in invited speakers, sometimes to the study weekends, but we'll also bring those to some of the online sessions in the evening, depending on which the module is that's being taught at that particular time. So the other thing about the study weekends, it's actually a really good opportunity for networking just in general, whether it's with the staff, whether it's with the lecturers, whether it's your fellow students, or also with some of the farms or visitors that we have coming along and giving the information out to everybody. So it's really, really good, but we'll probably hear about that from some of the students who are on the call later. So obviously it's an online approach, a distance learning approach. So reliable internet access is pretty important. Well, actually it's critical. Browsers such as Chrome or Firefox work particularly well. Some of the other ones are maybe work less well, but you'd certainly need a reliable browser to be able to access the material, because as I said, most of it is going to be through the Moodle portal. And obviously you need a computer or a device that works effectively in that scenario as well. And ideally we would like microphones and cameras on there, so that we can actually see who we're talking to, and when we're having the discussions, it's definitely a better feel to the whole experience when you have that taking place. Also, you'd be expected to have at least a basic knowledge of various packages, whether it's Microsoft or something like OpenOffice. So things like word processing, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, that kind of thing, so that you can prepare your assessments effectively. So what is actually needed for a good learning experience? Well, one of the key things is certainly being able to squirrel yourself away and get some dedicated quiet time to be able to focus on what you need to do. You obviously need some time and certainly motivation to push your way forward through into the desired area that you're looking into. Certainly you need an open mind. As I said, we're particularly interested in critical analysis, so it's looking at evidence, sifting through that evidence and critically analysing what's there. So an open mind is really good rather than coming along with preconceived ideas. But certainly the desire to learn and succeed is really important as well. And another factor is being willing to communicate and actually being prepared to ask for help if there are issues that are happening in your life. Because really, if we don't know about it, there's not very much we can do. So if there's something that's troubling you for whatever reason, it's really useful for us to know what's going on in the background, so that we can help, or at least we have people who can help in terms of pastoral care and things like that, which is actually on the next slide. So if that is a situation you happen to be in, we do have student support team in the background. So myself and Lou and the other lecturers will certainly do our best to help where we can, but we also have access to specialist support team to be able to do that. So we have educational support, there's pastoral support as well. There's also a careers advice service as well. So when you're starting to get to the stage of looking for jobs, or there's help there. And as Lou pointed out in one of the earlier slides as well, there is help in terms of things like fees and funding, where they're available. We also have the IT service. So obviously this is a distance learning program and you're going to be using online activities quite a lot. And so making sure that you have access to things like the Moodle, the library, and you have all the various passwords and things like that linked up through the SRUC portal, because if you go through that way, then that does give you more access to a broader range of materials that will be useful in your studies. That's really important. So the IT service is available and there's help desks and things like that which you can access. And similarly, the library staff as well are very helpful when it comes to questions and things like that, or trying to access various articles or things like that if you're struggling for whatever reason. And if there's any other aspects as well, we are more than happy to kind of hear from you, because we don't want to see people struggling. We want to support you as best as we possibly can. So this is myself and Lou. So you'll see our pictures in the corner there. It may look subtly different from the ones you see on the screen when we switch the presentation off. But these are our contact details. So Lou at the top there and myself at the bottom there. And the two of us are both based at SRUC's Craveston campus, which is in Aberdeen in Scotland. So there are various methods of assessment that you'll be using. So there's a range of different things. But in terms of the postgraduate certificate and the postgraduate diploma, Lou's already pointed out there's 4 taught modules in the first year, which is the PG Cert year, 4 taught modules in the second year, which is PG Dip year, and all of that is coursework. There's no exams, no sit-down exams and scribbling away on a piece of paper. It's 100% coursework, which you will be submitting through a Dropbox through the Moodle portal, which I mentioned earlier. In terms of the masters, assuming you've done okay in the PG Cert year and the PG Dip year, and have got the required grades for that, then you can move on to the masters. So that gives you an opportunity to do your own specialist piece of research. So you have to do an assessment project proposal. So you kind of say what you're going to do, why you're going to do it, what the background, etc. Then you have to do the work itself and then write it up in terms of a dissertation. And you'd also have to do a short presentation on your work as well, to fellow students and to some of the staff as well. And this is just a selection of comments really from some of students who have done the distance learning courses in the past. I'm not going to go through them all, but they are going to be on the recording. So if you want to have a look at them there, you can pause it and check. But most students, I would say, are very positive about their experiences. And I think that's me in terms of the actual presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Robin and Lou, for the information. So as I said, we have a couple of current students with us this evening. So I would like to introduce you to Emma. So Emma is currently on her second year of the programme, and Emma will be sharing with you what her experience has been so far with doing the online distance learning programme, and a little bit about her background and everything as well. I'll hand over the floor to you, Emma.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I did a undergraduate honours degree at Craveston SAC many moons ago, and since then I've worked in the agronomy sector, the agribusiness consulting and project management. I chose to do a distance learning course because it was very flexible, fits around children, business, jobs. All the lectures are recorded, so you can go back if you can't attend to check on them. Upskilling is very beneficial. It's a very professional setup, and the lecturers are all very engaging and experienced and supportive. There's no pressure in the lectures to dress up or anything. You can just arrive when your old work clothes or whatever, and you're never far away from a cup of tea, which is always handy. Oh, can't see my cup of tea. There you go. The best parts of the course have been the network and the connections of the other students, the study weekends, and the sort of support network you get from the other students. We all have a WhatsApp group that we keep in touch with each other and discuss projects that we're up to, which is really nice. Professional opportunities that I see from this course are that it makes you more confident, and especially as a female, you get more respect perhaps with the masters, and you can walk into a more senior role with a higher salary, with more experience under your belt. I would agree around about 15 hours a week, sometimes a bit more or sometimes a bit less, depending on what workload you have on. Moodle is very easy to use and didn't take long to master. And I think that is about everything I wanted to say. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Emma. That was lovely. Thank you. And with us as well, we have another student. So I will like to invite John. So John is currently on his first year of the programme, and similarly to Emma, he'll just tell us a little bit about his experience so far. And yeah, I'll hand it over to you, John.
Yep, thanks very much, Anna. Hi, everybody. My name is John Flanagan. I currently work for NFU Scotland as policy manager. Prior to that, I worked with SRUC as a lecturer. And prior to that, I was farming in France myself. So I have a varied background. I originally started on the course a little bit touching on organic modules, and came back on the course this year to specifically start this MSc and finish off where I started with the organic modules. The interesting part about that was that with my job with the NFU, the modules that I was doing, the policy one and now the cropping one, was specifically related to the work I was doing and very relevant. So much so that I actually met Robin at an EHDB event where he was speaking, down in the Borders. And really that's where it works and comes together, is that network you create really is supportive, but it's very relevant to what's happening in the industry right now. And really my whole point for doing this module was that it's very forward looking. you know, in terms of where agriculture is going, the buzzword at the moment is sustainability. And there's not a lot of knowledge out there about what sustainability actually means. The organic farmers have had it and they've understood it for a long, long time, but it's actually coming into mainstream farming now. And actually that's really cool to be involved in that, to be talking to the leading minds in that area, kind of sometimes very cutting edge stuff I'd not even heard of. And I've been involved in farming a long, long time. The visits, you know, the study weekends, I've found them to be really, really useful. I think everybody's alluded to, including Emma, that it's great for networking, but it's even better to have like minds in the same room. You know, you just connect, you talk, conversations take interesting tangents. And, you know, funnily enough, you know, one of my fellow students was telling me about the LENS form of funding, which is about how farmers can get paid for environmental benefits. You know, like real life, up to date kind of topics is what you're talking about, even in your networking opportunities. Also, as well as that, it was fantastic going on to the farms and seeing in practice what's happening. You know, a farmer putting into action what we're learning about is really, really special and cool to see that you can kind of connect the dots in your head, that it's not just all abstract, that it's actually is real. That's really, really good. And the connecting with the other students, I mean, it's also just as important to connect with the staff. The staff are really supportive, very, very friendly. I used to work for SRUC. I would say that, wouldn't I? But they're actually, yeah, no, they're really, really good. I mean, always on hand to answer questions. I mean, the previous module we did was with Nick Lampkin and Susan Padel, and like they're leading minds in Europe, and they really give themselves to you in terms of answering the questions, or, you know, that type of thing. Really, really important stuff when you're not sure about what you're studying, or, you know, maybe you've got a question or something that's kind of, you know, not quite got the grips with, and they really do help. Everybody does. Robin as well, who's my current tutor. And what else can I say? Aberdeen is quite a cool place. I used to study there back in the day. And it's been really nice in the study weekends to kind of re-find Aberdeen. It's a grand wee town, and yeah, it's nice to be up there. And yeah, overall, I'd say it's good crack. The whole course is good crack. It's just nice to be involved with people of a similar kind of mindset, and just kind of, yeah, be enthusiastic about what you're studying. Study times, yeah, at times, like Emma said, it can be really, really intensive. Yeah, you know, I have a very busy job, and sometimes, you know, you just have to put the time aside to get the work done, and it can be very intensive at times, or, you know, sometimes you know, it can be hard to find the time. But, you know, it's one of these things, you've just got to factor that into your head, that you've got to find the time and that quiet place that Robin was talking about. And to date, I can only just speak really highly of the whole course and experience. It's just been really, really good, really just positive. And, you know, I had, like in my job at the moment, I've had been exposed to ideas, and I've actually taken them into my job at the minute and actually talking about them in real life situations. And I mean, you know, that's really, really valid and a great kind of experience when you can do that. And that's kind of all I have to say, really. So
that was great. Thank you so much, John. That was fantastic. Thank you. So yeah, so we hope that you have all found this information useful. Please feel free to add any questions to the Q&A section if you haven't done so. I will go and have a look. So we've got a couple of them here that we'll start with. So how many people are in each cohort? Is that to either Lou or Robin, please?
Do you want to go, Lou, or is it? Currently, I think we've got 16, I think, in this first year. Is that correct? That sounds about right.
Yeah, and we would sort of aim for a maximum of 20 to 25. We don't want the cohorts to be too big, because then you lose the sort of personal touch that we like to achieve. But that's the kind of number that we would potentially expect.
Perfect, thank you. The next one is asking, what are the language requirements for international students, and is there a visa requirement to attend the study weekends?
There is a language requirement, and I can't actually remember what it is. It's IELTS. Is it 6, level 6?
Level 6.
Right? Yeah. And we do have students who attend from abroad, and the visa requirements will depend on, I guess, which part of the world you're coming from. But we do have a support service we have somebody who specialises in helping with things like visas and stuff like that. So, you know, if there are questions or queries about that, we do have that. And in the last study weekend, we had somebody who came over from Ghana for the weekend actually. So yes, it does happen. So it is possible to do that. But yeah, it potentially is quite an expensive thing to do, but could well be worth it.
Perfect, thank you. We've got one more here. It says, what kind of hands-on experience do you get at study weekends?
It depends on the modules that you're taking. So, for example, the soils module, which I should be letting Robin speak about really, because he teaches that, but that will have hands-on, a bit of work in the labs and work in the field, digging soil pits and looking at soils and that kind of thing. It's not a practical course, as in you will come to us and learn skills like, I don't know, how to shear a sheep or something like that. But it will give you an insight into how you should manage particular systems. I don't know if Robin wants to add to that, but that would be my summary.
Yeah, certainly things like the soils would have a practical element to it, definitely. So Lou's already kind of talked about that. But the other thing is actually going out on the farm visits. You're picking up a lot of really valid information from the farmers or the agribusinesses that we go to about that. So I mean, John's already said, you know, he's been on some of these things and he's already using it in his workplace, and I'm sure Emma's the same as well. So yeah, it's not, as Lou said, we're not going to teach you how to shear a sheep or carve a cow, or, you know, something like that. It's you know, the academic side is the core thing, but there are going to be elements of applied aspects that we'll be covering in the study weekends. And particularly some modules have more of that than others. So the soils in particular is one where there'd be more, you know, bring your muddy boots and and we'll get you out with spades and things like that. And there'll be a little bit of just basic lab work just to talk about sort of soil quality aspects and things like that.
Perfect, thank you. I think that's all the questions that we've had so far. I'll give another minute or so in case if anyone would like to add anything else, but I'll just take this opportunity to thank everyone that's joined us this evening. Just to remind you, if you are with us just now, you will receive an email with the link so you can go back and watch this recording, and it will also be made available on our YouTube channel, so you can always go back and watch it, and as well watch any previous events that we have run in the past year, just in case if any sort of different questions have been asked. It's always helpful to kind of go back. And if you do have any questions that might have come up after the event is finished, feel free to email us on study@sruc.ec.uk. And I would just like to thank all of you for your participation this evening. We hope that everyone's found the information useful. So thank you very much. Thank you.